All right, welcome everybody to our nature healing on caves and experiencing darkness. I am going to share some photos and hopefully you can see that. Elizabeth is thumbs upping. Wonderful. Last time I was absent while Elizabeth was talking about sage because I was in caves and I really love caves. I just feel energized and like a new person when I visit caves and experience the darkness that I feel like you can only experience deep in the earth. And I visited a place called Lava Beds National Monument. And this park, it's in far northern California in the high desert. And there are many different types of caves. This is actually going to be less of a scientific talk and more of just an experience. But I will just say that the caves here were formed from ancient lava flows. So there were rivers of lava flowing all over the place in this area, and the outside of the rivers would harden. And so the inside was like this conduit for lava. And when the lava flow was over, it left these tubes. And these tubes are all over the place. And in some instances, there are systems of tubes upon systems of tubes upon systems of tubes. So there's like different stories almost of these caves. And it is the place in the world with the most types of these caves anywhere. And they're all over the place and they're very, they're really fun. But before I go further, I am going to bring us through the 8 verses just to ground us a little bit in our practice. And I'll attempt to sing these. And you can sing along or follow along and experience the consciousness field being set. Head touches sky, feet stand on earth. Body is relaxed, mind expands out. Be respectful, quiet inside. Mind is clear, the appearance is humble. No distracting thoughts. Mind expands out to the vast void. Mind shines deeply into the body. The body is harmonized with chi. Harmonized with chi. Harmonized with chi. 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 So here's an aerial picture overhead of what you can see of the remnants of these lava tubes. And the black areas are the leftover lava. And in places where you can see straight lines, those are the main lines of the caves. And the Modoc people who lived in this area knew these caves intimately. And they were probably used for all sorts of things, including protecting themselves in times of war, used for rituals, as sacred spaces, for rites of passage, and other uses that have been lost to time. So, walking through this desert expanse that looks kind of like this, it's hot and then it's the middle of summer, and you're just walking along in a place that looks like ordinary desert. And then there'll be these sort of indications of volcanic activity, some lava. And then you'll come across an invitation. And so this is an entrance to the lava tube network here. And here's another entrance. Some of these tubes are quite large. Some you need to crawl through, and others are like vast cathedrals. Here's another entrance, another invitation into the darkness. In this grand entrance, you can see my son standing there for scale. I do believe, I have a suspicion that caves really were the original cathedrals, the original religious spaces, and that the grand churches and cathedrals of our time are really just here mimicking what it's like to be in a sacred cave. In the entrances of some of the caves are petroglyphs, and we're really not sure what they mean, why they were created, but the best guess is that they are sacred artwork that was drawn after somebody went through a vision quest. So, what we do know is that the caves in this land were part of dream incubation rituals and probably other rituals too, where somebody might go inside of a cave and dream for a particular purpose, and then come out and draw these images to remind others of the wisdom and blessings that they received while they were in the caves. And so, just in your Mingjue state, receive this information of these ancient drawings created by people that received enlightenment within the darkness. Just receiving the information. And so now we are inside the cave. We've taken the invitation and we are ready to explore. That's my son. Some places you get to crawl. We had helmets and flashlights, But of course, the people before modern times had none of that. Here's another image of a tight spot. The insides of the caves are really quite beautiful. It's hard to tell in this photo exactly, but the ceilings have all sorts of different colors, some gold and sparkling, all different textures and shapes. And here's a video to give you another, more of a body felt sense of what it's like. This is my son. And that brings us into the darkness. So I'll invite you to close your eyes. If you'd like to turn off the lights, you have an eye mask. You could put an eye mask on. Whatever you need to allow yourself to experience the darkness while remaining comfortable and feeling safe, of course. Remembering that you can always come out of the cave if you need to. So as we've turned our lights off, experience the darkness with all of your senses. Maybe you're still seeing some residual flashing, but mostly you are in complete darkness. The air is cool. Maybe you hear a dripping sound, water dripping. The air smells cool. It smells of rock and mineral. And other than the dripping water, it is completely silent. You can hear your breath. You notice your heart beating. The floor is hard and cold. And I'll just invite you to experience this. Experience this deep wombic state and place. The ancients believed that caves represented where we came from before we were born and where we might go after we die. Caves were therefore seen as a place that we could go during our life for rejuvenation, for nourishment, for transformation, and for rebirth. Within the cave, we could find that darkness that the seed finds when buried deep in the earth. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . It's as if time stops and our orientation in space becomes unclear and scrambled. Where we enter the cave and then where we emerge from the cave later might put us in a completely different spot, one that we weren't anticipating. We could spend what we thought was an hour in the cave, and it could be a day. We become part of a suspended reality. And in this space, we can completely surrender. Within the darkness of the cave, we can experience the spirit of darkness, that nourishing, generative force, that darkness that blankets us, that protects us, that wraps us up in her arms and holds us so that we can heal, so that we can rest. The ancients knew that in the darkest darkness is where we could find the source of our greatest illumination. So just rest in this void. Explore ways of surrendering deeper into this void. Know that you are held. When we talk of people going into dark places, perhaps this is actually what we mean. People in difficult times or times of transition, challenging moments. Perhaps what they're being invited to do is to come into the darkness, not as punishment, not as a scary place, but as a tool to heal and transform and meet challenging moments. And sometimes what we mean by somebody coming into a black space is actually a blockage. And remember that blockages are not the same thing as darkness. In fact, we go into the darkness, we explore the yin space in order to discover our own blockages, open them up, and heal them. Modern neuroscience actually confirms some of this generative power of the dark. We know that the darkness actually triggers the production of powerful antioxidants like melatonin and other powerful healing hormones. So when we allow ourselves to be in the darkness, to surrender control to the darkness, we receive these benefits. We also learn how to navigate by our inner knowing, by our true selves, because in the darkness, our Mingjue, our clear observer, only becomes brighter and clearer. Taking a few last breaths, receiving, receiving the blessings of the spirit of darkness, of Mother Darkness, and then holding hands, we'll guide each other back into the light. Thank you, everyone. Now I'll open it up if anyone has any shares or comments or fun cave stories. Did you raise your hand, Alex? Okay.
Did. Yeah, I did. We live in Missouri, which I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but it's like one of the top states for caves in the country. We have a lot of caves here. And actually, when we were looking for a place to live in Missouri, we toured I don't know how many properties. One of them that we looked at actually had a big cave on it. And it was a weird property though. It was also an RV park. It's we didn't really want to own an RV park. I can't remember why they even our realtor even decided to show it to us. There was also like a house there that the caretaker I guess would live there, and then you would have this RV park. But I wasn't looking to buy a business like that. But it had an awesome cave and with water, yeah, coming out of it. It was like a spring in there that was like leaking out or whatever. But now you've inspired me to do some spelunking here in Missouri because
Well, we had our nephew with us when we looked at that property, and he did some of that where you get down on your
yeah,
belly.
on
Yeah.
his belly, and he's a skinny dude, and he crawled through
Yeah.
like there. And I was starting to get like, I don't know if you should keep going. You should probably come back now. He's
It
like,
was
it's fine, Uncle. Come on, let's go.
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I believe the caves where you are probably limestone caves. So formed by groundwater dissolving the calcium carbonate in the soil and then creating these huge caverns. And those limestone caves, I mean, a lot of them look just like cathedrals, like churches. They're so beautiful and sparkly and yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a national park not far from here, and it's actually in Kentucky though, but it's not too far of a drive, I think. What was the name of that? It's like Mammoth National Park. I don't know if you've heard of that. Mammoth Cave. It's a huge cave system. And I went there when I was a kid, and there's like big stalagmites and stalactites and stuff in there and whatnot, and bats and all kinds of things. And there's just a huge trail system that runs through there. And there's tours, and the park service people give talks on the caves and stuff. And so really fascinating. If I don't know, I can't remember how many of our folks live out this way. If you're in the Midwest and you're looking for a cool thing to go see in the Midwest, Mammoth National Park. It's awesome.
Awesome. Field trip. I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. We'll all meet there. Sounds good.
Yeah, I want to meet there in the cave cathedral, and we're all going to sing.
Yes.
The acoustics are probably gnarly, yeah.
It's probably awesome. It's probably out of this world kind of thing.
Yeah, I know a singer in France, Catherine Broslovsky, maybe Swan, you know her, and she says that the caves taught her how to sing. And of course, yeah, the caves that I was at, I was surprised actually had not good acoustics. There was barely any echoing. But overtone chanting in caves with an echo, man, that's the best. Yeah, so Swan's in. Good, good. All right, we're gonna do it. Can't wait.
You know, when we lived in England, we were at some caves in France, and one of them is called Peshmeral, and it had wonderful drawings in it. Petroglyphs. Huh? Petroglyphs.
Yeah.
Uh, and then on Lanzarote, we were in what kind of cave was that? Lava. A lava cave. And that one you could walk into, as much what you were talking about. And the further in we got, the rooms became bigger. And I think that's the one that had water in it. Yeah, it was like a lake. It was like a lake underground. It was really quite amazing. And if I'm from Iowa, Alec, and the Makokata Caves, I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but it's Makokata, Iowa. There's caves outside of there. It's nothing like France, but
Yeah.
there people used to go rattlesnaking there.
Yeah.
That's why I never went.
Yeah,
I have an uncle.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I have an uncle who lives in Iowa, and he's always inviting us out there, and I still have to make it. Since we moved to Missouri, we're fairly close to him, but
Mm. I will bring up bats. Irene mentioned bats, and I've been down to the Carlsbad Caves in southern New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Good fortune of staying for bat flight in October. And the bats, they come out at sunset and they just have this spiral. It looks like smoke, and they spiral out and they go, hunting for food. And there are all of these steps down into the cave, and you go in, and there are columns of guano or bat poop. And it's just really, it's incredible. And uh I don't know, it was very impactful. So that'll be where the bats come in. But the bats didn't, I mean, you don't really notice them. They're sleeping when you're in the cave, but just watching them do that flight, there's so many, and it's just rhythmic and entrancing. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah,
there's a
going back. Oh, go ahead.
there's the movie. I was going to mention a movie. Is that
Warner
I think it's
Herzog.
called, yeah, the Werner Herzog movie. I think it's called like
Cave.
Caves of Forgotten Dreams.
Cave of Forgotten Dreams.
Oh my gosh. And I think I'm on, I don't remember if it's in France or where it was, but there's like some caves that have some of the oldest, at the time it was filmed anyway, some of the oldest artwork that we know of, like human artwork on the walls of these caves. And he was just, filming this, and it was pretty amazing actually because no one's been able to film it before because they don't want to disturb the site. But he was allowed in there to film this, and he lobbied for a very long time to get permission to do that. So it's a pretty special thing. And I think since that time, they've found a couple other caves in, like, I want to say it's like Southeast Asia somewhere that they think might even be older. But it's hard to date. You can't carbon date stone the same way, so you have to look for other organic material to carbon date it. But yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff, and that movie is just phenomenal, phenomenal film. If you haven't seen it, recommended. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
done.
thank you for recommending that movie. I have seen it. It's very dreamlike. And That's the space that you're in when you're in a cave. It's very dreamy. It's not like ordinary reality. And yeah, I do believe at the time, I mean, I still thought that the oldest cave art was still in France, but yeah, who knows, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, the art in caves in France is, I think, hundreds of thousands I mean, I don't know, potentially it's old. It's really old. Um, and a lot of the caves are now shut off, but they have like exact imitations of the caves that people can walk through, which are really cool, actually. I went through one in Marseille. It's beautiful artwork of animals that don't exist there anymore. I mean, I was in Marseille and there's images of penguins, right? So penguins in southern France. That's how old the art is.
The caves that we went to in Peshmeral, they say the petroglyphs are over 20,000 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Living, energetic, historic records. So us with our Mingjue training, we can receive that information still.
I was in a different cave. I think this is in Austria, but I remember them saying if water drips on your head, it's like a blessing.
Mm.
And there were these rock formations coming down from the ceiling as we were walking through, and I had a few drips on my head, and it's been some years since then, but I still feel the power of those drops of cave water. And it was high summer, it was July then as well, and it was so hot. And then there was this cave with this opening high up on a mountain, and I went into this cave and it was so cool, and there was just this potent cold water, and it fell on the top of my head a few times, and I felt so blessed. And those moments they've just carried through. So that powerful cave water, when you're surrounded by that energy, it's just, yeah. So thank you for bringing caves.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Elizabeth.
I was I was nervous about the cave, about doing this, because there have been times when darkness, either in real life or in imagination, has been terrifying to me. And so two places that I went with it. One was I was in therapy a couple of weeks ago and dealing with that with my therapist, and she said probably the deepest darkness anyone has ever experienced is the womb, and that it may be terror that came from prenatal time. So we did some energetic treatment. So there was part of it where remembering that in the cave was like being in my mom's uterus. And um and that felt like being in the earth in the same way. Um, the other thing I thought of which is more a matter of the uncave, um, but it's a matter of the petroglyphs and the darkness the same way. We went up to the petroglyphs at Peterborough in Canada, and it's this great big huge rock that has petroglyphs all over it. But what the natives did was they were always covered completely with leaves.
Mm.
And the person who was taking you there as a guide would go to the part that you need and uncover those leaves for you to see that image. So it was very much like seeing the petroglyphs in a cave would be, I think, of that removing the darkness for that image and then putting the leaves back on. And so those were my connections.
Thank you. That's such beautiful information. Such beautiful connection to these old traditions. Any other sharing or any blessings we want to throw into our healing field for yourselves, for people in your life.
I like to put my friend Jane in the field.
Hello, Jane.
I'd like to put, was that me or somebody else?
I think it was you.
Anyway, I'd like to put myself and Bobby and also Alex and Caitlin, our grandkids who are living with us, and Ian, our grandson who is in a dark place.
Alex and Caitlin and Ian. May he have a light as a guide. And Angie and Bobby.
I want to put our nephew Theron and my mom in the field. Our nephew spent the last month with us working, and they are going back to Georgia tomorrow. So they have a long drive, and it's been a really wonderful trip. And this cave talk reminds me of him too. So I want to put them in the field and all of the loved ones, his parents and everybody. Thank you.
Allah for the journey. Yeah, boys love caves. They really love caves. Yeah. Yeah. Allah. I'll put my beautiful friend Oshala in the field. She's going through yeah, it's a time of rebirth, and I know she's got it, and I'd like to give her some support also.
I'd like to put my new grandnephew who just came out of the cave on June 3rd. And the whole family that's going to be there. I'm going to go join them on the 20th of July, and I'll get to see him for the first time. But just to put them all of us in this beautiful Mingjue field. We'll be living in a house, 9 of us in a house together. And I'm looking forward to all the joy and camaraderie and cooking and all of that. So putting them all in the field.
Allah for Swan's family, new birth. Thank you. For all these intentions, spoken and unspoken, holding them all in the field. We'll take them into our healing practice now. Closing our eyes, coming back to the dark. Darkness of pregnant possibilities, that empty but not empty. That place of renewal, rejuvenation, renewed hope, and rebirth. And finding a comfortable seat or space to lay down. I'll invite you to relax completely. Connecting deeply with the energy of Mother Earth. That energy that comes from the deepest, darkest places. Receiving that rejuvenating energy within our bodies, within our healing circle, within our intentions. And now we'll use our bodies to connect that energy with the energy of the heavens, opening up the top of our heads, receiving all the light from our sun, and receiving all of the Huanyan Qi, that original primordial Qi, which also comes from the infinite darkness, the infinite void. And just allowing yourself to relax a little deeper, to surrender a little more, only as much as feels safe and comfortable, knowing that we are here connected together. This is a safe space, connected in with universe chi. We're connected in with the collective Mingjue consciousness field. All the sages, all the teachers, all the students, all the practitioners, all of us who through our practice know the darkness of the cave. So we have experienced guides here. Allowing yourself to surrender and relax a little more. And coming to our best Mingjue state, awakening our observer in the darkness, turning on our pure perception, noticing how our pure perception, our pure awareness is clearer. It's clearer here in the dark. It's clearer in the cave. Allowing Mingjue to merge with the head inner space, merge with the chest inner space, completely filling the body, filling Huanyan Palace, filling lower Dantian, filling the hips and the legs, filling the spine and the nervous system. Noticing Mingjue consciousness merging with your chi body and expanding out, out, out. The field of your awareness expands and expands and expands, expands and expands and expands. And you become large, immense, filling all the space. Filling the infinite space, the infinite darkness with your awareness. Becoming so large that any individual blockages, situations in your normal body and your normal life feel so small, feel so insignificant. Breathing into this vast darkness. And now we'll merge this darkness with more emptiness, with more clarity. The head inner space becomes empty and clear, pure light. She. The neck inner space becomes open and clear, filled with pure light. She. She. Your shoulders, arms, and hands become empty and open, filled with pure light. She. Your heart and lungs, breasts become empty and open, filled with pure light. She. Your internal organs, all the organs of the Huanyan Palace, circling around the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, spleen, kidneys, stomach, intestines. All the organs empty and open and clear, filled with pure light. She. She. Our hips, reproductive organs, legs, knees, calves, feet, open and clear, filling with pure light. She. She. The spine, nervous system, all become empty and clear, merged with pure healing light. She. Our entire body, our entire chi body, our entire consciousness body, merged together, merged with pure healing light. She. We structure this field pure, clear potential with our Mingjue mantra. We are Mingjue love.
We are Mingjue love.
We are Mingjue peace.
Mingjue peace.
We are Mingjue happiness.
Mingjue happiness.
We are Mingjue gratitude.
Gratitude, acceptance.
We are Mingjue community.
We are Mingjue community.
We heal together.
Our Mingjue healing.
We rejoice together.
Our Mingjue joy.
And we sing together.
We all sing together.
We are love, unconditional love.
Unconditional love.
Breathing into unconditional love.
Breathing into unconditional love. Acceptance, love, and gratitude. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're ready, moving your body, your brand new body. This body you've created anew from the marriage of lightness and darkness, community and song. Feeling gratitude for the wonders of the earth that help us find our way back home again and again and again. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you, Swan. I'm definitely going to caves with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You. Allah.
Allah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Such a beautiful way to bring caves and darkness. Thank you. It's just, thank you.
We'll be back next week.
I think it's going to be gardens. So if anyone has garden photos, plant photos, everything counts as a garden.
Awesome. Send Elizabeth your photos.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Lovely.
Very welcome. All right. Have a beautiful evening, everyone.
Yeah, you too.
You too, everybody.
I, Bye.